back to my channel. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner. And today we are doing a new content creator. Well, not new, but someone who I haven't reviewed yet, a Black content creator. Her name is Sarah West. And I did, as I promised, I mentioned right after this challenge wrapped up, I was going to feature more Black content creators who do yoga and also add the ones that I've also been doing before, like Live Fertile and some of those others back into the rotation now, since I'm not as hung up on this challenge that I had to do. I didn't have to do it, I just really wanted to do it because I love challenges. But so anyway, this is Sarah West. I don't know what to expect, and the practice I found was a 15-minute practice, perfect for those who want to move a little bit during their lunch break, because this is also when I'm doing this. I'm doing this during my lunch break. Kind of, just move things back around, because you know how sometimes, especially most people who have sit-down jobs, you struggle to, feel great after sitting down all day. Well, a good way to do that is avoid sitting down all day. For example, during your lunchtime, go for a walk, go for a run. I know for those who are like in summer months right now, that might be a little challenging to go for a run during the summer, because this is like, the peak of summer for a lot of people, including myself. It's already in the 80s outside. So most people probably, if they are someone who's active, who does stuff outside, probably did in the morning or do it after work. I'm personally going to go for a run after work today, because I'm hoping that the weather will be a little bit not as hot. So, but I'm still going to move. And so today we're doing the yoga. The candle I'm featuring, by the way, is Beach Cabana. And then also the video that we're doing by Sarah West is called Stress Relief Yoga Flow, and it does have in parentheses 15 minutes. So that's the other reason why I know it's only 15 minutes long. But anyway, without further ado, let's give this content creator a try, shall we? So today we're going to start this practice in a comfortable seated position. And after having our one hand on our chest, the other hand kind of above our belly, we are then working on our breath. We are then going to be working on just moving our arms around, different sequences of moving our arms around before we really get started with the practice. It is a very quick practice, very fast moving. So, yep, stay tuned for it. After we move around with our arms and get warmed up, we are then going to, on each leg, we will do one-legged seated forward bend, and we're going to do that on each side. From there, then we are going to transition to the next position. And the next position is going to be a staff pose, transitioning to a seated forward bend with the staff pose. From the seated forward bend, we're going to put one leg back and then try to do another seated bend. As you can tell, I am not flexible enough to do this pose, so this was the alternative that I chose, where I just put my leg back and then just kind of stretch the other leg. And also, if you're kind of like me, I would just do the best you can and not try to overextend and stretch and, do anything to yourself. We do this. She has us do another form of stretching. It was kind of like it looked like an advanced version of a camel pose, something that I was not even going to try to do because it just seems like it was something that I was going to hurt myself with. So I just try to do the best I can. If you're looking to see what this was, it was not supposed to be a reverse table. It's actually supposed to be a little bit more of a stretch than what I ended up doing. So I actually just skipped it and waited till the next movement. From here, we're going to make a weird transition where we go from kind of being in a kneeling position to then from a squat to a standing forward bend. Again, I wasn't quite able to do what what she was doing. So I did end up in a seated forward bend or standing forward bend, but the way I landed, just because, again, she's super flexible and I am not there. So there's that. The standing forward bend, we are kind of taking turns, kind of windmilling. So basically, having one arm down while the other is in a twist with our arm up in the air. And we're just going to be doing that back and forth before we then make our way to the next pose. In between this standing forward bend, we also were supposed to kind of do a variation of like, um, a, I would say a dancer pose. It wasn't quite Warrior 3 and it wasn't quite a dancer pose, but it was kind of a variation of it. And again, I struggled with this because it just seems like it didn't seem like it flowed. And I will say that is kind of one thing my main critique for this would be is that with a lot of this particular practice, I personally didn't feel it flowing. So I kind of struggled with this, to be honest. From that variation, we will then make our way to a chair pose. And a lot of what she was doing in between this, it seemed clear that it was going to end up in a chair pose. So this did actually make sense. But from there, we are going to eventually make our way back down to the floor. So next on the floor, instead of doing like a boat pose, we're kind of doing a variation of a boat pose, a little bit easier version of it, where we're balancing one leg at a time in the form of a crunch. And then from there on, we are going to then do some more crunches, but crunches are focusing more on our lower abdomen along with actual traditional crunches. So this portion or last bit of the practice is going to be heavily focused on abs, 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 and abs. after the ab workout, we are then going to transition over to a bridge pose. And with the bridge pose, we're doing a lot of, I guess, pulsing with it. And then we are going to then make our way to a one-legged bridge pose on each side. Before, I believe this is one of our last poses before we start winding down. Finish off with the abs. We then will do one final staff pose, seated forward bend, to then end up in a seated position where we basically end exactly where we started, where we have one hand on our heart, the other hand on our belly. And that will then conclude the practice once we do our poses. By poses, I mean basically namasteing to close the practice. So it was a different practice, and you'll hear about it very shortly, my thoughts on it. Hi, so that does conclude the video for today. Let me adjust. There we go, much better. How I would rate that video, because I was trying to get used to this person because I haven't reviewed any of her content before. I would give the video an 8. And the reason why is because that was a lot in 15 minutes. And I honestly feel like the 15 minutes was not enough time for doing like more of like and the type of yoga that was like is a sculpt yoga. And scope yoga is kind of similar to like where you're adding a little bit more strength training into it a little bit. It's a little bit more of a high intensity yoga. Because as you saw there, I was doing quite a bit of ab base work in the practice. And I'll be honest, it just for me, 15 minutes is not enough time to warm up before you get to it. And also, a lot of the poses she was doing were very intermediate to like advanced, and more on the advanced side than intermediate. So there was quite a few of the things I had to just do my own variation of it instead of doing what she was doing, because she's really, really flexible and your girl is not, okay? Which is why I always state, hey, my mission is to just add more, have more people do yoga and do it with me, and then go to the actual content creator and do the yoga routine yourself, particularly Black content creators, because I'm just trying to get that going. But yeah, I'm not the one to model after, because I was struggling a lot in a lot of those poses, because to me it was a little too fast. Because again, I think there should have been a little bit more of a warm up before we got to it. So I would recommend, if you are going to do this video, be very mindful of that. Don't try to do exactly what she's doing, because she's clearly an advanced yogi instructor and she's doing everything on the advanced side. The other reason why I also rated an 8 is that although her voice is nice and soothing and peaceful, I actually had a tough time hearing her instructions. So I had to pay a lot more attention to the video than I really wanted to, which is not a problem, but for something that's high intensity, I kind of need you to be a little bit more giving me instructions before we get to the next pose. And it just seems like her voice and what she was doing were not as in sync as I'm, used to. So it's more of a preference thing. So I would say this piece, so my critique for this is a little bit, literally more of a preference thing. Some people prefer that. I prefer more of a like, hey, this is what we're doing next. Like an ideal scenario is that your instructions are so clear, I rarely have to look at what you're doing. And I don't get that with a lot of yogi instructors on YouTube, full transparency. So those who are able to master it, you can tell I review their videos a little bit more than others for obvious reasons, because they're doing that very well. But I'm saying that too, if you're someone who's trying to get into yoga and you're really, really new to the practice, I haven't checked out the rest of her videos, but this particular video may not be the one for you, to be honest, because I don't want to like assist in people getting injured, and for all exercises, you exercise at your own risk, clearly, right? Right. So I would just say, if you're going to follow her and do this particular routine, this particular one, because I am going to review others of hers just to see if there's a difference and see if maybe she has something that's more a little bit on the beginner side. So I'm going to search for her stuff and see if she has anything that's on the beginner level, and then we can maybe try to review that. Because most people probably are more in the beginner intermediate, I would say, right? Not a lot of people are on the advanced level. I would never say I'm on the advanced level when it comes to yoga. If anything, I will stay in probably intermediate for the foreseeable future, unless I stop being like an athlete and stop doing, running and things that basically make it rump stiff, But anyway, that's pretty much all I have for that, for the video for today. I am going to do another one of hers again, because I am intrigued. I do like her ambiance. I will say this also, her ambiance is different than all the other yoga instructors I treat so far that I've, done so far. She's in the desert, and it starts off with just the mat, and she's talking, and then all of a sudden she appears. And then at the end, she disappears and the mat is still there. And it's soothing. It's such a soothing, peaceful vibe. So I do like that energy. I like her energy. I love that a lot. So it's enough where I'm definitely gonna check her out again. So so the 8 isn't bad. And by the way, the ratings are, 1 through 10. So 8's not bad. 8 is okay, let me give her another chance. So far, I haven't had anyone where I'm like, I'm never reviewing their stuff again. So there's that. But anyway, that's pretty much all I have for today. Please like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you get anything out of the channel. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner, and I will see you next time. Bye.